Okay, dokie. Let's talk about 5 feats I'd hate to DM for. Or at least I would hate if I had to DM players with these feats. My players don't have a lot of feats right now, or they haven't picked these ones yet for sure, due to either homebrew classes that are they're quite powerful, so they never felt the need to dive into feats, or they just haven't leveled up high enough to then, instead of getting ASI, they believe getting a feat would be better. But playing at tables as a PC with other PCs that have picked some of these feats, it's carved a little spot in my brain where I'm like, I should be a little bit scared if my players pick these. In my game, I have given my players a free feat actually recently in my current campaign to spice some things up. I did ban a couple of these feats right off the bat just because it swing their power level too much, I believed, at least in my opinion. But I don't ban anything when you can choose an ASI or a feat. It was just on this free list of feats you could get at level 5 when they reach level 5. But enough gabbing, and let's get to the first feat that is on my list, and that's the healer feat. Now, a lot of people probably are thinking and looking at me sideways like, what? What the But hear me out. My current party of players haven't realized this yet. And some of them do watch my videos, so I hate to explain this to them, but it is what it is. But one of these things is much better than the others, and it's not even close. To bring a person from dying to stable or bringing a person from dying to 1 hit point. It's for sure bringing them up to 1 hit point. They can do anything a full health PC can do. Now, some healers in the D&D world will say, healing word picks them up at a distance and gives them more health, and it's much better than picking up a feat. But for that, you're using a spell slot. You're losing resources. But with this feat, you're not burning any resources except for an action. With that healing word, you're burning an action, you're burning a spell slot, and then you can't use another spell during your turn. Even giving a health potion, you're losing something. You're losing money, you're losing a consumable item that you have, either from finding or purchasing, right? But with this is just an action. If your frontliner is a fighter, let's say, who went down, him having 1 hit point is the same as him having the average damage of the monster attacking him, be it an ancient dragon or a goblin. And so if you take the healer feat and with an action you get him to stabilize and you give him 1 hit point, he can do everything he normally can do. And unless your spell will heal him over those average damages, he's going to go down the next time he's hit no matter what. So you're losing either an action or you're losing an action, a spell slot, an ability to use another spell during your turn, during a bonus action, or you know what I mean? It's more resource intensive. Let's say you still are onto this whole healing word thing. Okay, let's say you burn your first level spell slot for 1d4 plus your wisdom, whatever it is, and then the dragon claw coming in, the average is 17 damage, and the goblin is 1d4 plus 2, whatever that average is, 5. The PC is probably going to go down and you've wasted a spell slot. I would have rather used an action as a player. Hopefully you are seeing how good this feat is and how much harder it is to kill the party.
Well, golly! Hit the brakes, Buford!
Wait, I'm not saying I'm trying to kill the party. I'm trying to create tension and fear of death is the easiest way to create tension in a combat. And with this feat, it becomes much, much more difficult to create that fear, right? So starting to get the hang of how good this feat is and also why I kind of dislike it. And if you attach this to a spellcaster or certain races, the person can run up and stabilize, and then use a bonus action to get out of there. And doing this makes DMing a little bit harder than if it was just a healing word, because you're not sacrificing as much stuff as you would be if you didn't have this feat. Now, for that action, you're getting that party member back up, doing everything that a normal player can do, and you still have that healing word as a bonus action to pick up someone across the battlefield if you need to, right? This is if you're giving it all to your spellcasters or your healer, let's say. Now, I'm at this point, I'm sure some people are saying, just go kill the healer first, and the TPK falls right into place. That's not the point, but, right? Well, have you seen a fighter with this feat? Right? Everyone can get up very quickly. It's multiple people. And yes, if the fireball comes in right after, they all die again. But I have to burn a fireball to knock down multiple people. And their death saves restart. It's making things harder. And if your healer is the only one doing all the healing, you're doing something wrong. It's just like when the party gives all the healing potions to the healer, and then the healer falls down and they go, oh, how are we supposed to heal the healer? And then they realize it's a bad idea. Here's a hint. Don't give them all the healing. Spread that stuff out. The rest of the feat doesn't bother me very much. It just makes it a better feat, but it does make giving battles more tension a little bit harder as a DM. It does have a small drawback due to the touch aspect of this, but if a frontline guy already has it, it's over. And with this feat, it doesn't have a limit to it. You can use it over and over and over again. There is no ending of this feat. There's not only can be used 2 or 3 times or once on each player. That part of that feat is literally, there's no cap. And that's why I hate this feat. Feat 2. I mean, sharpshooter. The cons of being a ranged character are pretty much gone with one feat. Except for, bows being kind of just shitty. But if you have a good DM, it doesn't matter. They'll make you bows that are cool. So, there. And, having a hulking range character that now never misses and can almost, guarantee 10 damage plus, whatever their modifier is, it gets hard, right? It's hard to ignore that player. There's almost no way to get away from them due to them ignoring half and 3/4 cover, and then add on like the damage, like I said, it makes life as a DM a little bit too hard, I think, in combat, because you have to then start thinking about this character with this one feat. At least to me. To me, I have to start thinking, okay, this guy's going to be sitting there doing all this damage from the back, and how much fun are the people from over here is going to get from it? And maybe that's what that guy likes, but there's this balance of all these things you got to think about as a DM. And I'm not trying to say we should take that power away from the player. Shouldn't. But it just adds more difficulty to the combat situations than I think it normally would. When someone has this feat, you have to start thinking combat in a different way than I normally would.
Ready? Where does everyone have to min-max?
One of my players is eyeing this feat and is starting to create a hulking range character, and for that I probably hate this feat a little bit more than I normally would. Feat 3 is lucky. It is actually a great feat, and I believe a player is going to pick this, and I just don't want to DM against it. I mean, 3 times he can almost pretty much have legendary resistance, but better. Like my boss monster 3 times every day. But like I said, better. It's any D20 roll. He can declare it after the roll. He gets to say, oh, your monster hit? Nah, re-roll that. See if he gets a hit again. And best of all, it's free. It doesn't cost a reaction. Nothing. He just has to declare it whenever. You can re-roll 3 times in one turn if you want. There's no limit to it. 3 times in a round, 3 times on opponent's turn. It's just fantastic. But because I hate fighting against legendary resistance as a player, I thought as a DM I would never have to deal with something like this. And here we go. Here's lucky. And that's why I'm gonna hate DMing the lucky feat. Also, like raw, if you roll with disadvantage and then you use the lucky feat, you can pick any one of the 3 die you roll. I mean, I'll be doing it rules as intended, which you don't do that, but like, what the fuck? Why? Why would they do that? I guess I could just say with this feat, you just get to stop rolling bad, but really it makes me feel like, it's a great feat if you hate your DM and you want to say fuck you to them. Do you hate me, Jones? Do you? Feat 4 is a quick one. You'll probably get it pretty quickly. If you've been around Dungeons and Dragons for a while, Polearm Master. It's not really that bad. I mean, it does mess with combat a little bit with opportunity attacks and on entry and exit, and adds a measly D4 damage. But I hate this feat due to the fact that it's always combined with Feat 5 Sentinel. I hate it. It's so dumb. I watched a player in one of my games when I was a PC destroy countless combats over and over at tables that we played with each other, and it was just, the way that these fights happen, I'm sure there's hundreds of ways to deal with it, but it's such a pain in the ass. I hate it. It's the only combo I have banned in my games. I haven't banned a single feat. I don't really think I banned really much at my table now, except for homebrew, but I literally told one of my players when he said, oh, I think I'm going to take Polearm Master.
Punch in the face.
No. But I really said, you can't have that in Sentinel. I didn't even give him a chance to explain why he wanted Polearm Master. I just hate this combo so much. I didn't even give him a chance to speak. The moment Polearm Master came out of his mouth, I bitched and complained and explained to him how crazy this combo is and opened his eyes and went, oh, it does all that. I might have to get these 2. And I'm like, no.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Never. This is shit. You're not allowed to. I don't care. As it doesn't cap on these feats, they don't have caps to them. So it traps these monsters in a range of 10 feet when they enter or leave, and they can't get out or get closer. If the enemies get hit, their speed becomes 0, so they can't move. There's a lot of things in the game that then spiral from that. And then because of Sentinel, if they attack one of your comrades in battle, it generates more opportunity attacks. So this guy's just sitting there fucking smacking all of them all over the place. And it's just so strong and so annoying. And I don't understand why Wizards of the Coast would allow these 2 to come out. And literally they came out at the same time. It wasn't like, oh, this came out and then in Tasha's they came out at the same time. This is the only feat. This is the only feat I even thought about banning in my games. I didn't. Well, like I said, I kind of did with the combos, but But Sentinel almost got straight up banned from my table because it's just frustrating to see how a combat is destroyed by it at times. I know there's ways to get around it and stuff like that, but it's just such a pain that one feat could, especially combined with another, could just destroy multiple combats in your game. And that's why I hate it. But all jokes aside, I hate Sentinel.
If you should die before you wake.
Can't sleep.
Sentinel will get me.
Can't sleep.
Sentinel will get me.